Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Farhan, also known as Gunner Since 96, and you're watching my post-match reaction video after the Manchester United versus Arsenal game, or Arsenal versus Manchester United as it was held at the Emirates. Premier League fixture that was goalless at the end of the day, or in the evening I should say. I'm going to give my reaction. I'm going to talk about Mikel Arteta's press conference. I'm going to give my man of the match. I'm going to talk about who I thought was not necessarily the worst player, but the player that underperformed the most. Let's start off with my reaction. My instant reaction was, I have to be honest, one of a little bit of disappointment. I say that with caution because it's the day after, and obviously I've had a lot of time for everything to be processed properly. I recorded a podcast as well, which is out. You can listen to my post-match reaction podcast if you want to hear proper in-depth, long 1 hour analysis of the game. That's the Arsenal Therapy podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the rest of it. But look, I have to say that I was a little bit disappointed with the result, in the sense that the performance that we put in that second half, we deserved to win. We outplayed them. We were dominant. We were strong. We had a lot of good opportunities. Likewise did United as well. They had a lot of opportunities to score in the first half. Second half, they had two really good opportunities. In fact, both of Cavani's opportunities. Don't know how he missed an open goal. Then he missed from a couple of yards with that acrobatic shot. Fernandes had a shot as well after cutting through Luiz. You got the Fred shot. That was stupendously, amazingly saved by Leno. Rashford hitting the side netting. Had a good few opportunities. We had a good few opportunities as well. So there's the two Pepe chances, who had a good game again today. I don't even want to talk about the Willian opportunity, but the Willian opportunity, of course. Lacazette had an opportunity as well. EMILE Smith-Rowe. There were chances. Look, it was a really interesting game to watch and analyse, in the sense that it was a game to learn a lot from two teams that were maybe deceiving their fan base a little bit. Going into this game, we were really high on good form, really high on confidence. Our performances have been really, really good. United come to this game on the back of a defeat to Sheffield United at Old Trafford. So they're looking for an instant reaction. Now, I said this before the game. I said that this run of games, starting from Southampton, was going to be the ultimate sort of test to see how far we've come, to see how much we've grown, and to see where Arteta's project is at the minute. After beating Southampton, I said that this was the ultimate test. This was going to show, really, this was going to expose everything that Arteta has done. And I think likewise for United as well. United go into this game with not the best performances of late, but the results they've gotten because they have individual brilliance in their team. Rashford, Martial. Okay, I don't know about Martial, but I'd say Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Pogba, Greenwood, to some extent. They've got players in there that can pull out individual performances that can change the game in an instant. Arsenal, on the other hand, have players of that calibre, but don't often show it. But in the last month or so, what we have developed is a team bonding ability on the pitch, the ability to play together off and on the ball. We definitely saw a massive improvement to the Arsenal that we saw losing to Burnley. That's for sure. I think confidence has a lot to do with it. But also, it was a shame to not see Tierney, Saka and Aubameyang, because we would have had our fully strong strength, our strongest starting 11. And I think our fully strongest starting 11 would have beaten that Man United side. I think we would have got the 3 points. I think we might have won comfortably. It was a game of two halves. The first half, they absolutely dominated us and we let them. We sat back for some reason. We invited the pressure, but we displayed some really good defensive work. The shape at the back was incredibly organised, tight, compact. The lines were nice and straight, reminded me of what Newcastle played against us in the FA Cup. I have to say Holding and Luiz did a really good job at the back with dealing with the balls in the air again. Players coming back to support the defence like Pepe and Martinelli, who was unfortunately substituted in the second half. I don't know why. I still don't know why that decision was made by Arteta. He said it was tactical, but I can't see the tactics behind it. Some people might argue that it was to double up on that side, to apply more pressure on that on that left hand side, to get Willian there as an extra body so that maybe Cedric can overlap him, or maybe we can try and open them up on that side. I think Martinelli would have done a far better job than what Willian did on that left-hand side. I think in the second half, as we applied the pressure, as we played a higher line, as we continued to play the ball down that left-hand side, when the ball got to Willian, he slowed down the momentum, got the ball, made the easy pass, often passed it back. His first touch was often quite poor, quite hard, so that his second touch had to be a rash pass of some sort. And, let's not even talk about the opportunity that he got to score and ultimately put us 1-0 up. A poor finish, and reflects the type of confidence and form that he's on. But look, I have to say, the performance in itself was good. What lacked was the final third. The quality in the final third wasn't there, and that was frustrating for me. I think it was a similar theme for both teams, where football was good. The football was smart. There was some really good tactical nous from two managers that were playing this in a really strategic way. One team sits back whilst the other one attacks, then the other team attacks, then the other team sits back. Very safe, very conservative, but still at the same time displaying some fluid football. However, both teams failed in that last third. They missed that quality. The last pass wasn't there. The last bit of movement wasn't there. I have to highlight Lacazette in some instances of that game. Partey making a really good darting run and Lacazette just getting in the middle of it instead of running into space. The opportunity in the first half where he had the Martinelli pass and then running towards the United defence, could have passed back to Martinelli and then got in the box and the ball could have been crossed in the face of goal, or Martinelli could have had an opportunity on goal, but instead he decided to have a long shot. So it's decisions like that. It's the last bit moments that we didn't make it count, and that's not to criticise our performance. I guess more than anything is to look at how far we've come and to also realise that there is still more work yet to be done. And so how do I feel? My overall feelings are, I'm glad we got the point, because we could have easily lost that point. We could have gained more from it, but I'm glad we got that point. I think both teams deserve to get that point. It's a positive performance. It's another clean sheet. It's another great display at the back. Our defensive work was really, really good, made it really difficult for them. And so we move on. We move on to Wolves in about 2 days' time. And then we've got Aston Villa, and then we've got Leeds, and then we've got Benfica. And the games are coming thick and fast. So I am overall relatively happy with that result. Let's move on to Arteta's press conference before I talk about who my man of the match was and who I thought had the least effective performance, I should say. Arteta starts off by talking about how he felt on gaining the points. So he said that it was a fair result. Both teams probably felt like they could have won it. It was a big game. Both teams wanted to win it. The fact that we had 3 of our best players out probably had an impact, but I'm really pleased with the way we played. I tend to agree with him. I tend to agree that, like I said, it was a fair point. You have to understand as well and accept that we didn't have 3 of our best players on there. I mean, would AUBAMEYANG do well in the position on that left-hand side than Martinelli? I think Martinelli was excellent. His defensive work was really good. His work off the ball was incredible. He had bright moments on the ball as well. And like I said, I don't quite understand why he was taken off. But would AUBAMEYANG in that position be the type of player to track back as well? I don't know. But certainly we know what Tierney's capable of and we know what Saka's capable of. And I felt like we missed them a lot. Having said that, Cedric played a really good role. He had another really good performance today. Pepe, likewise, had some really bright moments. Unfortunately, it was just, again, that last killer bit of shooting or opening himself up, maybe getting that curve right on the ball as he shoots. But look, like I said, onwards and upwards, we can only take positives from that. There was another question about the second half improvement. And this was quite fascinating for me because I don't know why Arsenal decided to sit back. I can only imagine that it was a strategic move by Arteta, who wanted to play on the counter-attack and then surprise them in the second half. But look, he goes on to say, we made some changes with a few things we had to tweak to be much more efficient, to be much more closer to them, to be more effective in our high press. And we stopped basically giving the ball back to the opponent when we won it. We had so much more space to run into. In the first half, we didn't do that well enough. And he's absolutely right. He's bang on. The first half, there was one bit of frustrating play. One frustrating aspect to our game was that we kept on giving the ball away to them. Instead of making a simple pass, it was almost a bit too complicated, making long balls on the ground as well, long passes on the grass. And it was problematic because we were too far apart, I felt like, with one another. Which was a little bit, it was weird because we were playing in such a compact defensive shape, but then when we'd break, everyone would sort of split up and almost go a bit far from one another. And I guess the specialists who can execute the counter-attacking football do that really well. Accurate passes, being able to make the most of all the space on the pitch. But in the second half, most certainly, they played that high line. And I guess the risk of playing a high line is when you're playing against a team like United, who have the likes of Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, Pogba, who can break really quickly, who have the pace in them as well, get from one side of the pitch to the other, and then, possibly score. So, but I think we realised very soon that United were going to sit back and we're going to soak up the pressure. There was a question about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. We're yet to find out when he's going to be back. But there were two questions asked about his quarantine. So we know that he will be out for a number of days because he has to quarantine, because he has to follow the protocols. And Arteta basically went on to say that we have to follow the rules and protocols right now. And the protocols say he can't be involved at the moment. It's because he had a family issue he had to attend to, and these are the consequences. Not sure how many days he'll be out for. We're working with the Premier League and the government about it, and we'll see what they say. Really interesting response he made there, because he refused to tell the journalists whether he had been away to France or whether he had been in contact with someone with COVID. And to be honest, I don't think it's anyone's business to know the ins and outs. The most important news is that he's fine. His family seems to be fine. His mum seems to be getting well, and that he will be back soon. That's the most important news. I guess it would be good to know how many days, how many games perhaps he'll be out for. But it seems like Arteta doesn't really know right now. It could be sooner rather than later. But I think I read somewhere the earliest that he could return is against Leeds. So that means he'll be out for Wolves, he'll be out for Villa. But I think in some ways that is okay, because it gives, again, Martinelli another opportunity to try and get himself out there, try and improve on his performances, try and get some more minutes under his belt. Lacazette went off yesterday with a bit of a head injury that didn't look too good, but thankfully he's okay. He released a post on Instagram with a picture of him in the hospital saying that the doctors are taking care of him. He's absolutely fine. So hopefully, look, he's back again. I know the protocols are that you need to, with any head injury, you need to be out for at least 5 days or something like that. I'm not sure. I did a course on the website, on the FA website, and it said something about, it's so bad that I've forgotten because I did it like, I think 2 weeks ago, so it hasn't even been that long. But yeah, protocols state that he needs to be out for a specific number of days. So whether he starts against Wolves or not is going to be a massive question. And if he doesn't start, then who does? Is Nketiah ready? Do you place Martinelli in there and then play Willian on the left-hand side? Who knows? We'll find out. There was a question and some comments made about EMILE SMITH-ROWE'S performance. I have to say it was another really good performance. But Arteta goes on to say that he played a really good game. Even in the first half when he got involved, I think he made a real difference. Increases the pace and rhythm of the team when he's around the ball. And defensively, he's working so hard. Again, you can't really... There's no surprises. I mean... Emile Smith-Rowe is a player similar to Tierney, similar to Saka, similar to Leno, similar to Partey, players that are putting in consistent performances, and you don't really expect anything less. The only thing we can say is that we were thankful that he was available yesterday, because if he hadn't been available yesterday, I'm not sure where the creativity would have come from. But anywhere he was around in the pitch, he was always doing his work, playing really good combination football, especially with Pepe early on in that first half and in bits of that second half as well, playing really good football, especially on that right hand side to link up well with Pepe and Lacazette as well. And, you know, just looking really bright, another good performance, another more minutes to put under his belt, and hopefully it builds on his confidence. And finally, the last bit of news from his press conference to talk about is the transfer news. It's really interesting because today I think is the last day. I'm not sure when the window closes, but there are news, there are rumours of players leaving, potential players coming in as well. But before we talk about that, Arteta says that there are some conversations at the moment going on. I spoke to all of the players about their own situation because they're all aware of the minutes they're playing and they want to improve their situation. I'm willing to help them. We'll try to find a solution in the end. I'm quite confident that there will be a few players that do depart. I think Ainsley Maitland-Niles might possibly leave. I don't know whether it will be a permanent deal or a loan deal. It seems it could be both, not at the same time. Obviously, there might be a loan to buy, or there might be a straight buy. We're looking at Joe Willock as well. He could potentially go out on loan. I think Arsenal are more keen to let these players go out on loan than anything else. But we know that Leicester are interested in Emile Smith-Rowe. Previously, Wolves have been interested as well. West Bromwich Albion are interested in him as well. We are potentially interested in bringing in... There's Bertrand. There was Bertrand and there was someone else. And it's interesting... Not interesting, sorry. It's I've completely lost the words. I don't know what I'm talking about. The fact that I've forgotten this player just says a lot. I'm not sure. It's a 30-year-old right back or a left back. I don't know. But I did find out that some Newcastle's right back was leaving to Galatasaray for free, Yedlin, and I felt like Yedlin could have been a better fit for us than the player that we linked to. It's so bad that I've forgotten because he's a pretty regular starter. But what team is he from? Anyway, I forget. But you can find out online, so it's fine. That is basically Mikel Arteta's press conference. In terms of my man of the match, I have to give my man of the match to... I think I would give it to Pepe. I know David Luiz did really, really well, and he did great. All the boys at the back did great. Bar one, and I'll get to that individual. But I think Pepe had a really bright game, created opportunities, was a handful going forward, defended really, really well. You could hear Arteta screaming instructions at him: Nico, stay there, stay tight to your man, etc., etc. Move and all of that kind of stuff. And it seems as if that his defensive game has really, really improved because Arteta has pushed him to focus on that. I mean, there's a massive difference to the Pepe that we saw in the past to the Pepe that we're seeing now. Clearly something has clicked, and I think he's finally getting the gist of Premier League football. I think finally we're getting to see the best out of Pepe because he finally understands his roles, not just on the ball but off the ball, and his relationship with the players like Bellerin, like Emile Smith-Rowe, has gotten far better, and things are clicking in and around the pitch. The player that I felt performed the worst, I don't want to use the word the worst, but was the least effective. There was two in my opinion. The most least effective, I have to say, was Willian. And I'm sorry, I understand that a lot of people are saying that, you know, he had a much improved game, and I don't see it. I really don't see it, because the way that I interpreted that game in the second half was the ball was being fed a lot down that left hand side, so inevitably he was going to see more of the ball. But what he was doing with the ball is what I was most interested in, and what I could see that he was doing with the ball is playing the safe options, trying to do something with the ball but not being able to, not having the quality there. There was only one instance that he moved with the ball forward with pace. He got fouled and he won a free kick off of that. And that's the only time I saw any effectiveness from Willian. The other player was Bellerin. I thought Bellerin had a really weak game today. A poor game where that he felt a little bit uncomfortable on that right-hand side. You could tell that United later on in that first half near the end were doubling up on him with Luke Shaw and Martial. Just making him not as effective as he usually is. He was just given too much space to players like Shaw, who were able to put in balls in the box, giving them way too much space, giving them way too much time, not staying tight to his man, and ultimately it almost cost us a few goals. So look, that's my post-match reaction. We haven't got very long left until the next game. The next game is literally in 2 days' time, so the players will most likely rest today, and then they'll have a training session tomorrow, and then the following day will be the game. So it'll be really interesting to see who starts, who's fit enough to play. I'm hoping Tierney will be back. I'm hoping Saka will be back, and I'm hoping we get 3 points. But look, that's enough from me. I'm going to stop waffling on. It's almost been 20 minutes. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hit that bell notification to be notified every time I release a video. I'll be back tomorrow with a looking ahead to where I'll be talking about the press conference, hopefully. Mikel Arteta talking about the game going ahead. Who could start, who's not going to, etc, etc. But until then, stay home, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much. Bye bye.